I made over $500,000 my very first year trading at 19 years old, and it all started in a hospital. But first, we need to start in the beginning. I was 16 3 years ago, and I was standing on a tennis court ready to return my opponent's serve. And he missed his first serve, and on the second serve, I stepped in, I attacked, I ran to net, and I finished off the point, and within seconds, it was over. More specifically, I had won the state championship of Nevada at 16 years old. This was an incredible feeling, and it perfectly exemplified my life at the time. I was a high school student. I was a pretty good student. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to play tennis in college and kick ass, and I wanted to major in psychology and eventually become a therapist to help as many people as possible. And unfortunately, in just a few months after that, I was unable to eat consistently, and I was barely able to walk. And back then, I had no idea that my life would be where it is right now. I was just a kid who wanted to play tennis and go to college, and I wanted a normal life, the life that we are taught to want. And I just could never have imagined that I would end up where I am right now. And yeah, unfortunately, about 4 months after I had won state, I was just running to get a tennis ball one day, and I felt a really big snap in my hip. And it was at that point I realized that it quite literally hurt to get up and to walk. And I went to get an MRI the next week, and it turns out that I tore something within my labrum, which is a tissue in the hip socket. And I tried a year of physical therapy before going for surgery, and unfortunately nothing worked. It was also around the same time, about 2 months after I experienced this injury, that I began feeling extremely ill. I couldn't eat. I felt extremely nauseated pretty much constantly throughout the day. And combined with those two things, I had lost 40 pounds. I was down to 120 pounds, which is crazy because I'm 5'11". That's really, really underweight. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I couldn't play tennis. I couldn't be active. I couldn't play sports. And also at the time, I couldn't go to classes. I couldn't get up. I didn't want to do anything because I just felt horrible. And for about 3 months, we had no idea why I was feeling the way I was feeling, until I flew to another state to find another doctor to get a second opinion. And it turns out that I have hiatal hernia open, which is essentially spewing acid into my esophagus, which is kind of cool. And yeah, so I had to get 2 surgeries pretty much back to back 3 months ago, which was one of the hardest moments that I've ever experienced. But it's also the moment that changed everything for me. You see, during the time that I was extremely ill, I basically lost every single aspect that made me me. I lost my self-confidence entirely. I had lost all my muscle. I had lost essentially my will to go out and to do productive things. I had lost my will to go out and exercise. I didn't take anything, including college, anything seriously, because for 2 months or for a year essentially, I was forced into a state of nothingness where I just felt horrible the whole time. So the second that those 2 surgeries were over and that I didn't feel pain, that I didn't feel sick anymore, that is the second that I was like, wait a second, I need to find a version of myself that I have not found yet. I need to find that story. So I started writing it. When I realized that I was looking for a version of myself that I haven't found yet, I decided to surround myself and put myself in an environment that I was unfamiliar with. I started going into social media and just doing research on ways to make money, ways to gain muscle, ways to drastically improve my quality of life over what I'm used to. And this is when I discovered day trading. I've always kind of had this assumption, just because this is what I've been told, right? That day trading does not work, that day trading is a scam, that it's just gambling, that you can never outperform the market, there's absolutely no edge that anyone can have. And I was gravely, gravely mistaken. And it all started when I followed an account called Emmanuel Trades. And this single button press completely changed my life. I started seeing his results daily that he was posting. He was making thousands of dollars pretty much every single day. And he had just started mentoring people at that point, like literally just started. And I was one of his first students. I hopped into one of his free webinars that he still does to this day, by the way. I hopped one of his free webinars, and I was just blown away by the level of simplicity and how just everything made sense. So I decided to buy one of his programs. And when I did that, I watched him trade live for the first time. And this dude in front of my eyes on his screen, I can see his screen, made $1,800 in 2 hours. And I was just so shocked that this was possible, that this was proof of concept. He just made $900 an hour. Like, that's crazy. And that second is when I completely invested into trading. All my time, I was eating, living, and and breathing trading every second of every day. So yeah, at that point, I pretty much took all of the time that I had in my day. I took all of the money in all my investments and banking accounts, everything that I had, and threw it into both mentorship and my trading accounts so I could begin day trading. And I also happened to borrow some money from some relatives to help me get started. And after paper trading for 2 months, this was around September of 2024, exactly a year ago pretty much, I started trading with real money. And my first few weeks, I was risking like $5. I was risking pretty much nothing. So it was obviously hard to make a lot of money with $5 risk, but at the same time, I was building confidence. I was making sure I knew exactly what I was doing. So eventually, as I grew more and more comfortable, that's when I began raising my risk. In September, I made like $5,000. By the end of September, I had raised my risk to about $50. In October, I managed to raise my risk to about $200 to $300. I was getting really comfortable. In October, I made around like $12,000. And in November, I raised my risk to $400. The market picked up, the environment was amazing, and I made $60,000 that month. My third month with real money, 5 months into my journey, which is just ridiculous. So yeah, and since then, I have been averaging pretty much $60,000 a month ever since. I've made over $500,000 doing exactly this, what I am talking about right now. And I'm gonna throw up some brokerage statements of some of the months so you can kind of see that I'm not lying to you. And yeah, that's pretty much when I realized that this is real. Like, I am doing this. This is who I am now. And it just completely changed everything for me. And I realized something is that I'm pretty much at the point now where I am kind of at my maximum happiness threshold level in terms of making money from trading. I can keep improving as a trading and I can keep making more and more and more money. But I don't think that there's actually going to be any increases in passion and in motivation with trading. So this is exactly why I'm doing this channel, why I'm starting this channel, why I'm starting to coach within my mentors program. This is exactly why I'm doing all of that. I want to take what I've learned and I want to help other people doing this. I had my first 2 weeks of live trading and I had someone on their second day with me make $400 in a day, second day real trading with me. That kind of feeling is just so incredible, just crazy. And so this is exactly what I'm doing now, is I am teaching other people how to trade. I'm going to dedicate this channel to make trading concepts, trading psychology as simple and digestible as possible for anyone who is genuinely serious about trading to learn from. And at this point, I'm kind of living the dream life, especially for a 19-year-old. I'm doing everything that I wanted to do as a kid. I get to live oceanfront in Florida, in the beautiful beaches of Florida. I get to live oceanfront in this amazing apartment. I get to have and drive this Corvette that I bought, which is just absolutely incredible. I bought this this January. It was always a lifelong dream of mine to be able to own a car like that. That's where I am now. This is how trading changed my life. And I hope my story is going to be as much of an inspiration to start your own journey yourself. And this channel is going to be dedicated towards helping you improve and completely dodging all the BS, everything, just to make everything as simple as possible for you to get started. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.